I am here with y'all again. So, um, we are still talking about my latest book, Black Girls South of the Mason Dixon Line, and we are on chapter one, A Girl Named Latoya. So, I am 36. If I haven't told y'all that already, I'm 36. I have two children. They are 10 years apart. They're 15 and 5. Actually, my 5 year old, so they're like 9.5 years apart because my 5 year old, she'll actually be 6 on Thursday, the 22nd. Um, so yeah, I'm looking at my notes, y'all, because like I said, y'all, I told y'all last time, if I don't like write down stuff, then I'll be all over the place and I will have y'all talking and thinking about all types of stuff. So I'm the oldest of two children. Yeah, right. I'm the oldest. I have a little brother. We are 4 years. Take on it. 4 years. We're 4 years, some months, and 18 days apart. Um, my parents are married, and they have been married since 1983, 2 years before I was born. So this chapter tells the story of how my parents met, and it's actually kind of funny because my mother met my grandmother first, my dad's mom. She met her first. They ended up working together in the kitchen at Johns Hopkins Hospital. I'm pretty sure y'all have heard of Johns Hopkins Hospital if you don't live in Maryland, because it's a well renowned hospital. So, and my family is kind of deep rooted in that, but that's not what we're talking about. So, like I said, they met and in the kitchen at Johns Hopkins Hospital, and they became really good friends. Um, and so my grandmother, has she had 10 kids. The last two, they were a set of twins, and unfortunately they passed away shortly after birth. uh, so I do go into more detail about uh, their birth and their subsequent passing in the book. But then, so they passed away, but my grandmother, she had eight living children, five sons and three daughters. My dad is the third boy. And so him and his brothers, they threw a house party, as apparently they often did. So they threw a house party, and my grandmother was just like, well, yeah, my sons, they having a party, why don't you come? Because my grandmother, she was older than my mom, but I'm sure everybody either knows or has been in a situation where you at work, and then you're young, but then you have kind of this older person that works with you, and you guys kind of become friends. So I mean, to other people from the outside, it may look weird because it's like, okay, the one person is like 40, 45, or something like that, and the other one is in their early 20s. But it don't matter. It don't even matter. So like I said, they became good friends. My dad and my uncles, they had a house party. She invited my mom, and she went. She saw my dad, and they hit it off. They sat, they talked, and they hung out the whole time. And as the saying goes, the rest is history. And here I am. I was born in 1985. Like I said, they got married in 1983, September of 1983, and then I came around in 1985. Let's see. Okay, so I'm back to talking about my dad. I talk about my dad so much because society likes to say that black men don't stick around for their kids or for their families, period. And my dad did. He was there since day one, and he is still an active part of my life. Uh, I was telling y'all last time about his diagnosis of lymphoma, and and that it upsets me every time because like I said, when you think of cancer, you think of death. But I'm not gonna have y'all all teary eyed and crying this time. We'll save that for the next chapter. So, but as I was saying, I'm back to talking about my dad. I remember my mother telling me the story of when I was born. So there was a game on. Like I said, I was born in April, so I think so it couldn't have been a football game that was on. Maybe it was basketball. Like I don't know. So, but he was watching the game, and he had a couple of beers. He wasn't drunk, but he was nice. If y'all, he was nice. Okay, but so my dad, he's chilling, he's watching the game, having his beers or whatever, and here comes my mom saying she's in labor. So then they hop in the car. Wait, no, actually, I think the way it went down was my uncle Tyrone, my dad's older brother, not his oldest. My uncle Slim that I told y'all about, that passed away when I was 17. My uncle Slim, my uncle Gordon, he was the oldest. He was the firstborn out of all 10 kids. So then came my uncle Tyrone, and then there's my dad. So my dad got my uncle Tyrone to drive them to the hospital because my father, he's so he's like by the book, like my dad is like a super law abiding citizen. And and I love that about my dad. He's religious, and he's just an all around good guy. Like my dad, he doesn't curse, he doesn't smoke, none of that stuff. So I love my dad. But um if y'all can't tell, I love my dad. I love my dad a lot. So, but like I said, my uncle, he takes them to the hospital, and I came out April 2nd, 1985. And I guess apparently around this time, babies were being taken or perhaps switched at birth. And so my dad, when I was born, because I think the way it worked back then, I'm sorry, y'all keep adjusting my necklace, but the way it worked back then, when a baby was born, I think the baby would go to a nursery instead of staying in the room with the mom. Because I know when I had my children, they stayed in the room with me. They stayed in the room, both of them. They stayed in the room with me. But yeah, so so you would, back then in 1985, you would have your baby, and then they would take the baby and they would put the baby in the nursery. So, but what my dad did was, as soon as I came out, and they did what they did, they wrapped me up and everything, and they put me in my little clear bassinet on wheels. And my dad followed the nurse from the delivery room all the way around the hospital to the nursery and watched them put me in the nursery. And he took note of where I was in said nursery. And then when he went back to the room, he told my mom that he followed them because he wanted to make sure that nobody took his baby. And I'm like, okay, all right, daddy. Yes, yes. Make sure don't nobody take your baby. Okay. So my dad, he's been protecting me and watching over me since I was born. So shout out to my dad. And I don't talk about my mom a lot. Well, I haven't talked about my mom a lot yet, but my mom, she is my mother is she's my support system. She's my backbone, she's my security blanket, she's my rock, she's my whatever supportive words you can think of. She's it. She helps me whenever I need it, even when I don't ask for help. And she gets upset with me because I don't often ask her for help. Uh, like I said, this is the first chapter, and it is kind of introducing you guys to Latoya, the person. Latoya, the person. Latoya, the mom. Latoya, the employee. Latoya, the daughter. And when I found out that I was pregnant with my oldest daughter, my 15, she's now 15. I had her, I was 20. I had her February 25th, 2006. And then I turned 21 April the 2nd of 2006. So technically I had her when I was 20. And again, my dad, he's, really really by the book, and he's religious, and he's the one that kind of guided me with my spirituality and everything. So, but when I got pregnant, I wasn't married, and so I was worried about telling my dad that I was pregnant. And so I waited, and I told him when my stomach started to poke out. And oh, wait, actually, you know what? I think I'm getting into another chapter of the book, becoming a mom. See, I told y'all I will go off onto other stuff. So we're gonna back it up. We're gonna back it up and go back to talking about me. Not not that part. Not that part. Talk about me. And back to my mom. Now, my mom. I joke with her because I tell my mom that she's like my baby father, my baby's dad. Uh, because like I said, I'm a single mom. I am the sole care provider for my two children. And there are still times when I don't eat and I let my children have the food, or I will wear clothes that are too small or that have holes in them because my children needed clothes or shoes or food or whatever. Um, so yeah, and whenever my mom finds out, because listen to me, y'all, mothers always find out. Okay, I am a mom and I have a mom, so mothers, they always find out. So if y'all think y'all gonna hide something from your mom, she gonna find out one way or another. I can't tell you how long it's gonna take, but she gonna find out. So, and my mother, she always seems to find out when I am hiding something from her, like hiding the fact that I am struggling at that moment. She always finds out. So she yells at me and tells me to stop doing that. But then she comes to the rescue. But I don't like to depend on my mom because I'm 36 years old and they are my children. If anything, their dads should be helping me take care of them. And this is because this is kind of making me a little emotional as well, thinking about my children and about my daily struggle, and how the my oldest daughter's father, he is on child support. I get $83 a week in child support from my oldest daughter's father. He is not in her life. Um, and my youngest daughter's father, I did file for child support, but don't know what the state uh, is doing with that as of right now. So that that is what it is, I guess. I don't have time to wait because my children, like I said, I'm their sole care provider. So it's my responsibility to make sure that I pay the rent or the mortgage for wherever we're living at the time. I have to make sure that I have a car. Like I can't not have a car. So I now have to make sure that I pay my car payment and my car insurance, gas and electric, food, and stuff like that. So, and then more about me. I don't like to use the word victim. I prefer the word survivor. And so I am a survivor of domestic violence. Like, let me think of something. Okay. Like when I finally had enough with my oldest daughter's father. Okay. So, all throughout my life, everything that I've had has been mine because it's been my experience in life that if somebody does something for me, they never miss an opportunity to throw it back in my face. So now as an adult, I'm like super independent. So that's why I don't ask for help when I need it. I will just go without and figure it out. And I always figure it out. And I hate, like I hate when people say, don't want it, the term figure it out, because it triggers me because my oldest daughter was 2 and I was struggling because pretty much I've been in a constant struggle financially. And so I was struggling, and it was Christmas time. And during the same time, I had a coworker who turns out she had a pill addiction. It was Vicodin. Yeah, it was Vicodin. And I was working in a medical clinic, and she had printed out and forged signatures on some prescriptions. But she used my computer and she used my login information. And her and I, we were really, really close. So, of course, when she got caught, people assumed that I was a part of it. And I didn't know anything about it. The only thing that I knew was the day before my job brought this to my attention. She called me. It was really late on a Sunday. So she called me and she said the exact words. She said, if anybody asks, I was showing you how to do prescriptions. Okay. Cause at that point I didn't know how to do electronic prescriptions yet. I hadn't learned yet because I didn't have a reason to. So anyway, I go to work on Monday, and then the the boss, the high up lady, she comes into my office and she's just like, um, Latoya, I need to see you upstairs. So I'm like, okay. So we go upstairs to the conference room and all of this and that, and then she slides over a prescription, and I'm like, and I look at it, I'm like, okay, and then that's when she tells me what I just told y'all, that it was printed out on my computer with my login information and everything like that, and then I'm just like, okay, so then that explains why she said what she said when she called me, and then I told her exactly what my coworker told me. And because of the type of person I am, she trusted me and she believed me when I said that I wasn't a part of it. I mean, and now at this point I'm crying because, like I said, I'm a single mom, and it's Christmas time. I don't have no money, and now I am facing federal charges on something that I wasn't even a part of. Something I wasn't even a part of. I ain't know nothing about it. So, and then in the midst of all this, uh, before this had started, I had called my oldest daughter's dad and I told him, I said, I don't have any money to get our daughter stuff for Christmas. And he told me to figure it out. So I said, okay. And of course I did. But yeah, so I was like, so he said, figure it out, and he hung up. So I'm like, okay, cool. So then, the whole conference room thing or whatever. And then in the middle of this meeting, the conference room phone rings because the front office had patched a call in for me, and like I'm boohooing and stuff because I'm like, I can't go to jail. I'm like, what's gonna happen to my kid? I'm like, her father already doesn't take care of her while I'm out. So if I go to jail, where's my child gonna go? Who's gonna take care of her? So, but I answered the phone, and it was her school calling to tell me that they had chosen me to uh to get Christmas gifts. So they So my daughter, she did have Christmas that year, and it was by the grace of God. That's why I'm just like, I'm telling you, like I'm telling y'all, if when you think that you are just at the bottom with no options, he gonna be right there. He's gonna be right there because he was right there for me that day. So I got that phone call, and then that's when, four big trash bags full of toys for my daughter. She had a wonderful Christmas that year. Everything was good. And then as far as the prescription forging stuff, they told me they believed what I said, but they also, like, there was a caveat. They also said, but if I find out that you are lying, then we're going to prosecute you to the full extent of the law. So, and I'm like, okay, but I wasn't lying. I never went to jail. I'm here with y'all talking about this stuff. Like I said, my daughter, she had Christmas. Everything was everything. God said, nope, you're not, nope, none of this is going to happen. It's okay. I got you. He lifted me up, and everything was everything. And then I went on my merry way, so to speak. Um, so yeah, and before I my daughter upstairs, but before I close out and say my goodbyes to everybody, well, my goodbyes until next week, then I'll be back in your face. But before I say my goodbyes and everything, Black Girl from South of the Mason Dixon line, it is available on Amazon.com, and it's on available on Kindle. All you need to do is go to Amazon in the search bar, just or you can go to the search bar and you can put in either the title of that book, or if you put in Latoya Giles, then all of the books that I've written will come up, including Single Mom Chronicles Volume 1. That is more so about my domestic violence situations, my sexual assault, and uh, subsequent rape, molestation, all that stuff. And that's just volume one. I'm currently working on volume two, so I can continue to tell my story. So, but I will be back with y'all next week to talk about chapter two of my book, Black Girl from South of the Mason Dixon line. So, if you haven't already, go go get the book and go check it out. And I appreciate y'all listening to me and allowing me to share my story with y'all. God bless, and I will see y'all next week.